Last time we've successfully scaffolded the project. Now let's get it up by creating a component library using the atomic design methodology. Hi, my name is Tomasz and I'm a former tech lead and manager. Today I will show you how to utilize atomic design in a React application. Let's start with a bit of theory. Atomic design is a methodology that prioritizes creating small components that can be later on used to create larger ones, which in turn can be used to create even larger ones. It has three main elements: atoms, molecules, and organisms. Atoms are the smallest ones. Think single element like an icon, an input field, a button, or a text. Molecules are larger and consists of atoms. A good example is a component that is an input text with a label bound to it. And organisms represent the largest blocks that can live on their own. And you can build them using molecules and other atoms. For example, think of article excerpt or a login form or a sign up form. Then there are also views, which represents, well, the entire view of a screen, but we won't go there today. I will be continuing from part 0 of the React Design System series, so please clone the main branch if you haven't already. For clearness sake, I will be working on a new branch that will be later pushed. There will be a lot of things that I've mentioned in the previous article, so please familiarize yourself with it. I've made a simple login form that needs coding. Think homework assignment that you would get in a job interview. It looks something like that. There's also a sketch if you want to inspect this by yourself. If you look at it, it looks simple, right? Because it is simple. Well, that's it. Let's analyze it. The main thing are the input fields. So that's one component. There are buttons, but this can be another component with variants. There is text for labels, so there's three, and there is a background with a box that drops shadow. So there's four components in total. But since we are using atomic design, we will do four atoms. The creation of the thing will be a bit of a throwback to DDD in React I've done some time ago, but instead of writing tests in here, I will be writing styling and we'll use storybook. So as mentioned earlier, I will be using the repo I've made earlier, part 0, and for cleanliness sake, I will use a new branch. So let's create it right now and let's call it, I don't know, part 1 atomic design. Cool. So we have it now. And we are building a login form that looks like this. So if you press I, you have the inspector. So it's a simple login form that has text, input, input buttons, and it has the wrapper. So as mentioned, for components, for atoms, so let's start. But before we go there, before we start creating our elements, our current plop writes everything into UI. So that's not exactly what we want. We want to have this more into more atomic structure. So UI slash atoms, UI slash molecules, and whatever. So in order to save a bit of time, I have this already in my starter. So this is the part. And since I am extremely lazy, I am just copy pasting it. There's one export that is that. and complop templates, component and story, and we don't have tests. So this is basically it. And we don't have anything in here. So let's just create atoms slash index ts molecules slash index ts and organism slash index ts, just to have it so the generator won't go into overdrive. And we also want to expand this a bit, but the component itself is okay. We will want to expand the story. God, I hate this formatting. So what we want here is to have Pascal case type with S on the top. So it will generate UI slash exactly slash atoms slash button. Okay. As always, the formatting is not really important here. Nobody cares. Okay. So I guess we can start. So let's go back here, and again we want to start with an input, right? So the input, we can go here and inspect the element in a, like, let's call it closer look, right? Okay, so it's rounded with 4 borders are, sorry, light gray with width 1, opacity height, will be setting the height, and there's padding of 16 horizontal padding. Right, but before we go there, let's just go through our tokens. And tokens are like variables. So instead of writing in your CSS, for example, color like this, you can write just, like this. So then you have it defined. And since we are using Tailwind, let's just expand it here. I will be doing everything in extend, so I am not overwriting anything. And I will just copy paste what I have to save some time. And you can copy and paste this as well, because there's no real point in going through it. So I am taking the font size that is 12 pixels. It's 12 pixels everywhere. So I am setting this as a base. Spacing is 4, 8, and 16. So we have spacing here that is large. We have spacing here. Sorry for the weird distribution. We have spacing in here, but it's hard to nail. I'm sorry. What the hell happened? Oh, sorry, I'm still relearning Sketch. So we have a small here that is 4, and we have a medium one that is 8. So hence 4, 8, 16, and colors are gray, blue, and I forgot the red ones. So we have red, and it will be this one. So light will be, sorry, will be this, and the dark will be this. All right, so we have this, we have tokens. So let's now generate something, okay? So as always, npm run plop to run the generator. And we want atom, and we want, what can we start with? Let's start with text. Okay, it is created fine. It has created itself. Okay, and the, I've made this component already in my TDD in React video. It's a kind of a complex typing component. So I don't even remember how to do it, but let's try to, I have here like, a hint. Looking here, so I will just copy and paste this again and just go through it. So we are importing the types, components without props, element types, HTML attributes, and JSX. And we have the input props. So we have a generic of T that extends element type. So element type is like an element that is HTML element, DOM element. So P, div, label, whatever. And it again extends HTML attributes. So you have as, and you can just write here as div, and it will have proper typings for a div. We can use as label, and it will suggest the HTML4 prop. So that's cool. And of course, bold, italic, and color. So if we need this, right? And this is just the implementation. So the default will be P, so for paragraph, sorry. And if the prop as is passed, then we will reassign it according, and if not, then not. And of course, if we have colors, if we have bolds, italics, it will also be pushed. And the cool thing is we don't really have to change the story because this is generated fine. Let's run it. Text. Okay, yeah, it works fine. We can kinda leave it as is. Of course, we can change this. We can go here and just, say as label, and it should be changed exactly to label. As you see, we can go change this to age 1. It will be age 1. So that's that. This is perfect. And yeah, that's the whole component. Uh, through the miracles of copy paste. Okay, so I'm trying to go according to the script I've written, so that's why I'm looking at the second screen. Actually, it's a third screen, or is this a second and this a third? Who knows? Right. So we have this. Now let's create the input. So again, this is basically the same. Atom and call it input, and it is in here. So input will be kind of, sorry, input will be simple because we have to change this to HTML props and basically just type props equals to HTML props of HTML input. And HTML attributes is fine, but for form elements like buttons, inputs, it's better to use HTML props because it's more potent. So it has to be input, and that's kind of it, because all the props will be applied, but we need to add styling. So I know I should use class names or something like this, but kinda don't feel like it, because class name and props, because to be completely honest, I don't really think that this is needed. This is so simple code. I don't really have to do this. Okay, so let's see how this looks. All right, so padding, the horizontal will be medium, if I'm not mistaken. Medium, no, large, sorry, large. It has, stop it, border 1, border gray light, and rounded, yes. what we can do is we can add here height. So this will be, hold on, I forgot. Height. I always forgot the simplest things in Tailwind. I don't forget like extension of, I don't know, box sizes. Sorry, box shadows. But I will always forget the simple things like font size, height, whatever. And we want to name this form element and simply 38 pixels. I know this can be done by rems or whatever, but for now we will just go with this. So we want to have line height of form elements. Hold on, elements or element. And height. And class name of class names join with a space inside. That's it, hopefully. In here, let's just replace this with placeholder rather than children, because input don't have children, input elements. And input is a void, must neither have children nor use. Hold on. I edited this in the wrong file. Sorry. Right. Oh, a font size. Font size. So text base. Right. Right. Perfect. It looks the part. Cool. There's a copy CS, but kind of wonky. I never use this neither from Figma nor from Sketch. Okay, so we have inputs. What now? Button. Right, I'm still a bit under the weather, so excuse me being lost basically. HTML props, and again, this is equals HTML props, HTML button element. All right, button. But no, I forgot that we will have variants. Variant. And it will be what? Regular. We have error. And we have empty, like blank, right? So let's go back here. We my mouse is kind of fast. So we have this button that is very red, like an arrow state. We have this button, which is, well, an empty button. If we go here, you see there's a button, right? An empty button, secondary, I call it in here, and there is a button here that is a regular. So we can kind of call it secondary here just for the clearness sake. And what we want here is we want variant and props. Hold on, let me take a sip. And class name, because we will style it. And for variant, let's have it as a regular by default. Okay. So again, class names, right, class name, and we want styling. So by default, every button is rounded. It has a height of form elements. It has line height of form element, not elements. I don't know why I am so stubborn. Reassign but never used. Right, and then here it complains. Okay, so we will have to retype this later. Hold on. Form elements, we want volume large and we want text base, right? So Okay, for this, it still complains, so we can go with HTML. No, button HTML attributes. This will be better. Switch of variant, and we want let it generate, and then we will just go with background red light, text red dark, secondary will be background transparent, and the text is minor gray, so gray minor, and for regular it will be blue light and text blue dark. But in here we also need to give no no horizontal padding. Right. So storybook, and it kind of looks the part, right? We can close this, and of course we can go with as no, sorry, not as, but variant regular error and secondary. Yeah, good. I'm not doing a hover state because I'm not doing a hover state. Just for cleanliness sake and for speed's sake. I don't want to spend here like, 2 hours and bore you to death with this. Okay, so we have text, we have input, and we have button. So lastly, we need this beautiful wrapper, box wrapper. And okay, it is rounded for, it has background and it has box shadow that I already defined. Okay, so again, blob atom box wrapper. Using the generator is just a breeze, I'll be honest. Okay, so it's a div, and we could do what we did with the text component and have this, this great changing the tag, but I already did this, and for cleanliness I will just leave this as is for now. And styling, of course, because I'm going to need to add this for styling, for templates by default, because it's kind of wonky about doing this all the time. Okay, so we want padding large, as you see, background, not the most fortunate name, and we want rounded, and we want shadow of, hold on, card. And of course, class name, you join this. Again, I know I should be using something like class names package to have it cleaner, but to be completely honest, for this use case, for these all use cases, I would say this is very clean and very comfortable to use. Okay, so we have atoms done. Let's just make sure it looks good. It looks the part, yeah. I am not setting any font sizes, anything else apart from the padding and shadow, because this is a wrapper and its children will control the contents. Right, so let's do the molecule now. So this is tricky because you need to remember to select molecule. And our only molecule that we have, is input with label. So we have label, uh, we have label that has 4 pixel spacing, we have input, and we have 8 pixel spacing here. Okay. So remember, molecule, input with label. Right, right. All right. And since this is really cool, and we are just using uh, good methodology, this will be mostly composition. And we will do here HTML props because I want this to be HTML input and label as string. I want to have it, I want to have the input as the main part, the meat, and the rest, so the label, as a kind of an add-on. Okay, so we have a div that we will style a bit later. And class name, we want class name to go label and props. So what we want here is to have text as label, HTML, yeah, I'm sorry, HTML props will be props ID and label. No, sorry, it kind of gets the best of me. Input, hold on, class name. Do we need this? I'm thinking. No, we don't. Mm, okay, and all we need to do is to class name of margin bottom small and add to this div class name of margin bottom medium, if I am not mistaken. Yes, 8. Okay, so in here we just want to replace label, and just to make sure that everything is passed properly, just make sure. Right, and the last thing we need to do is to again I have let's God, I always forgot about this. Hold on, no. No. Sorry. Exactly. Right, sorry, I got like a brain freeze for a minute. All right, so oh, it's missing, so we can actually go if props ID console. Mhm. So it should, no. Right, so let's get the ID of storybook input. Okay. Now if we refresh, the error is gone, and it is labeled for storybook input, and in here it is ID. So if we click on the label, it should highlight and make the input active, and it does. Cool. Let's maybe add just cursor pointer to indicate that this is clickable. All right. So we have molecules, we have atoms, and now the final touch, the organism. And again, tricky thing to and login box, right? And as always, this is just composition. So I'm thinking what we will need here, but I think we will just do import button and import, yes, input with label, and hold on. We have the, let me get back here. So there's a button that will do something, and there is this button that will submit the form. Okay. So on how to call on forgot password click. Yeah. Forget? Wow. English. Always on top of me. All right. So and we want box wrapper. So box wrapper, close it. And now this is just simple. So we want form that will accept all the props. So all the on submits you have. Hold on. Form element. Exactly. And now we will just do input with label. Label should be your email. Your email placeholder should be this, and that's it. Now we can just copy this, and in here your password again. Placeholder will be this, and dots. Because if we would go with password, even though we are setting the type of password, if we would go with password, it will be displayed. But these dots are too big, so I have one prepared in here. Like, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. PASSWORD. 8. I always knew that spelling will be useful sometimes for me. And it turns out it is. Okay, so now we want to do the button wrapper. So it will be flex with justify between. And button variant secondary, forgot password, and primary regular type submit, and without the on click, and sign in. I'm thinking if we need anything else, but I don't think so. Let's see how this works. Huh. Got to say, it kind of looks the part. Button should be bold, I just remembered. So let's just so regular font bold and error font bold. Right? Right or wrong? Right, right. It's bold. It's bold. It's bold. And this isn't bold. Okay. Okay. So the last thing we should do, because now if we submit this, we will just reload our browser. And we don't want this because this is, well, this is a form. So it's doing what a form does. And what form does? Form submits the form. One of my colleagues told me that every meeting with me is like a stand-up, and I start to understand why. What we need here is we need to basically we need to capture the action. So we can import, hold on, action, yes. And what we want is we want to pass the on submit. But this is not that simple, because if we do this, it will still basically do what it does. So it will log, but at the same time, it will do the redirection because we are not preventing this. So you smart guys already figured out prevent default at first and then on submit. And what we can also do, which is very cool, is to add to our meta parameters. And hold on, let me check because I obviously don't remember this because I am using this on not on much occasions. So we want to yeah, archetypes regex on everything that starts with an on. So every handler, every action that starts with on, so for example, on forgot password click will be logged to our storybook. And this is how it works. Let's just do a refresh and I can close this. Uh, and we have actions here. So if I click forgot password, I am getting the information that it is a synthetic event and whatever. So it has a target, type, or whatever. And if I enter something here and do a sign in, you will see that it didn't redirect, but it generated on submit. And of course, it has like, the data values, so you can extract this from here if you need, or you can obviously create a new on submit, like in here, do something like on submit will be email string password string void, and just have it in here, right, and have like I don't know, state function, whatever. But this is the gist, right? This is like the gist of it, and this will make sure that everything view-wise works. Again, this works, this works. I can just generate, you can see I can generate stuff in here. Okay, so that's that. This component doesn't have like a max width, so I am not setting this. I assume that it will be placed in some kind of a higher order wrapper, or it can just have have passed the max width from the from the top. Hold on, maybe just add class name in here just to be sure, just so we can control this properly. So we can go now in here and just add class name with like I don't know, yeah, 300 pixels. See, but that's it. Right, and there you have it. So we have coded the entire thing in I think rather short time, and what's important is that it really works nice with the atomic design. We have organisms, we have molecules, and we have atoms, and it's all very, very easy to grasp, I hope. If not, leave the comment down below. And that's it. It might seem a bit too complex, but this methodology really shines when you have more elements. And eventually you will arrive at the place where you build everything with just composition. And isn't this what React is all about? Or at least it was all about this like 10 years ago. Well, regardless, thank you for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed the video and happy coding.